the other side of what like pickup getting a bad rap, which is that a lot of times I'll talk to women and they'll see like, you know, some of the content and they're like, oh, I can't believe you teach guys that stuff. And it's like, well, you know, and I, you know, your content is similar. I think we have a similar viewpoint is in the, you know, I always tell guys like leave a girl better than you found her, like in the sense that like, you know, I tell girls a lot of time, I'm like, look, what I'm teaching guys is I'm making guys that you actually want. Like I'm teaching guys to become high value, high quality men, to have good social skills, to be that guy that you hope talks to you, as opposed to the guy that's talking to you that you're like, when is this guy going to get out of here? Like this guy's so lame. Why doesn't he just make a move? Why doesn't he kiss me? He's so shy. He's so like unsure of himself. And it's like, you know, we're building up guys that it's not that sleazy. I think there's like the sleazy kind of like, you know, viewpoint that a lot of people have where it's like, I don't know. I mean, and I think there's a degree of that. But when I look at your content, you know, the content that I'm creating, we're, you know, and again, you can disagree if you disagree, but I feel like we're teaching guys how to become better men, and by virtue of that, we're actually providing a service for women, because there's a lot of guys out there, and we don't have a lot of good selection.
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt. You know, sometimes people like I check the comments, and some people are like, "That's so creepy. You're teaching these guys, you know, game and how to do this and pick up." And I'm like, you know what's even more creepier than that? A guy who doesn't learn pickup in game, because that's the guy who's buying you free drinks. Right. That's the guy who's stalking you. That's the guy who's like texting you, mass texting you a dozen times a day. You know, even though he hasn't heard from you, you're trying to ghost him. He keeps messaging you. He keeps showing up at your door. You know, that's that type of guy who has not had any training yet, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I've always said, like, this is absolutely, in my opinion, this is the best form of male self-development that any man can partake in, right? I mean, because it pushes you. I mean, walking up to a girl that you don't know, especially one that's more attractive, that is, you know, quote unquote, out of your league. I mean, that takes some serious balls. And then to be able to walk up to her and hold a conversation with her without giving off any vibes that you're trying to qualify yourself or validate yourself to her, it takes skill. You know, it takes skill. A lot of guys ask me, like, how do you know when you've achieved mastery? How do you know when you achieve mastery? I'm like, when you can walk up to a 9 or 10 dime piece, like drop dead gorgeous woman, and just be normal and not feel any need to, like, you know, like, you know, I gotta give, I need you to give me positive feedback, like so many guys do. It's like, no, dude, you could just walk up. You don't need her for anything. It's like you're just there, and you're almost like Zen, you know?
Yeah. And once you develop that skill in life, I feel like, you know, at least for me, I don't know, like it was terrifying for me when I was younger. And then I remember when I had mastered that skill, I was like, everything else seemed easier in life. I was like, that's what probably got me into business, into doing a lot of things, was because I had that mindset. Now I was like, okay, well, if I can overcome this, you know, the most terrifying thing in my life, and a lot of guys don't want to admit that, but it is the most terrifying thing for a lot of guys in their life, then everything else kind of seems easier. And then it was like, and then it's also, you know, I think like you're saying about, like, you could get girls, you couldn't keep them. Well, it's because you were like, you know, at that point, in our maturity, we were representing something that we're not yet. And then we got to go back and figure out, how do we become actually that guy that someone would call an alpha male? I don't particularly like the term, but it's like, you have to actually become the guy that's worthy of it, like to develop yourself, to actually develop, like build your finances, you know, build your physique, do the things that make you actually that masculine man that a woman is going to be attracted to in the long term, and isn't needy, isn't looking for validation and approval.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the great thing about game. It just teaches you all of those just key skills that I really haven't found. And I read a lot of books on self-development. I really never found another form of self-development to really take the place, you know, to like teach me the skills that I learned from infield cold approach. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, that's taught me the most valuable skills, and it's really helped me like build, you know, a successful business as well. And just, you know, really, it just really gives you that like social calibration, the social acuity, and the social awareness of like a really hot girl almost. It's like you almost like take on the persona of like a really hot girl, where you understand like, those, you know, you just have that base level social awareness.